Greetings, students. This week's topic is all about manipulatives for our KEC Early Childhood Education class. First of all, a brief introduction to this topic. Pictured here are three different kinds of manipulatives. I have to say that word a lot during this presentation. On the left would be some bristle blocks. In the middle is a button box. And on the right would be some Duplo kind of blocks that are translucent that would be fun on a light table. So now that I've shown you some examples, we're going to see more examples in a little bit, but I want to answer the question, what are manipulatives? Manipulatives, sometimes referred to as table toys, include different types of building bricks and toys, collections of objects that are used for sorting, small dolls and animals, and many other types of toys. This talks about them being table toys, but manipulatives could also be used on the floor, wherever it is most comfortable. Manipulatives are an important part of the early childhood curriculum because children can use them to practice a wide variety of skills. As we know, children learn best through concrete objects that they get to manipulate with their hands. So manipulatives are one type of concrete object. Some of the most common ways or skills that children learn by using manipulatives include the following. First of all, children develop fine motor skills. Fine motor skills refer to the coordination between your child's small muscles, like those in their hands, their wrist, and their fingers, in coordination with their eyes. Fine motor skills involve the small muscles of the body that enable such functions as writing, grasping small objects, and fastening clothing. Next, in our in-class one, we're going to review an article that shows lots of examples of fine motor skills. You're encouraged to also check out this article using the slides presentation, where you can click on this link to see some examples of fine motor skills. In addition to fine motor skills, children develop some basic math skills through their use of manipulatives. When children use manipulatives, they develop math skills, including counting. Counting is really, you know what counting is, but it's determining the total number of items in a collection. Seriating is arranging the items in a certain sequence. Matching is identifying items that are similar to each other, such as all the blue items or all the square items. Patterning is putting items in a repeating order, such as blue, green, blue, green, blue, green, etc. Classifying is placing items into categories. For example, all of the reptiles could go in this category. All of the mammals could go in this category, that kind of thing. So classifying objects. Shape identification, recognizing and naming different geometric shapes that are shown in the manipulatives that you're using. Another basic math would be adding and subtracting. So you're increasing or decreasing the quantities of the materials that you have in front of you. So these are a few of the basic math skills that kids can develop through their use of manipulatives. Next, we're going to focus a little bit about social emotional skills. When children use manipulatives, they develop important social and emotional skills, including they learn to cooperate with one another by sharing toys, taking turns, etc., as they build intricate designs together. Children develop confidence when they successfully use self-correcting toys such as puzzles, sorting boards, and stacking rings. So they develop confidence when they use the materials. The last one I have on here is children learn that they are can-do kids when they use their problem-solving skills to put manipulatives together. Something I always liked to do when I worked with kids is use the phrase can do. I wanted kids to know that they were can do kids, that they could do things well, and I wanted to let them have the confidence that they could be can do kids and take initiative to do things. After social and emotional, we're going to look at some creativity skills. So when children use manipulatives, they develop important skills involved in being creative. Children use their imagination to create original ideas using the materials at hand. Creativity, I think we know what it is, but I found some synonyms that also describe creativity, including inventiveness, innovation, originality, individuality, artistry, expressiveness, inspiration, vision, resourcefulness, ingenuity, and enterprise. So all of these are characteristics or qualities that we would like to see children develop in their early years because we know that these are the things that will serve them very well as they get into schooling later and as they have a career sometime in their future. Children also develop language and literacy skills through their use of manipulatives. When children use manipulatives, they develop the important language and literacy skills such as children use words to explain how they are putting a puzzle together or just how they're going about sorting objects. Children use words to describe colors, quantities, comparative things like more or less, bigger or smaller, taller or shorter, etc. They also describe the shapes and the patterns that they're building with. So manipulatives are a great teaching toy for children to be able to use, but we want to review a couple cautions here for us to think about. First of all, choking hazards. This is an early childhood class, and this class really focuses on helping you learn how to work with children from birth through about second grade. So older kids aren't going to put things in their mouths and choke, but younger kids very well might. So as a good teacher, we need to be aware of choking hazards. So when children are under 3 years of age, or when they still put things in their mouths, all manipulatives must be choke safe, so kids aren't going to choke on them. A good way to figure this out is to test objects using a no-choke testing tube, as is shown here. So shown here is a Unifix cube that fits fully in the no-choke testing tube. So because it fits in this tube that is designed to replicate kind of a child's throat, we would not be able to have this toy available in a classroom where children are under the age of 3 and where children mouth toys. So that is one thing that we need to be cautious about. Another thing that we need to be cautious about are magnetic hazards. So in class, we're going to view a short video on this that shows what can happen if a child swallows rare earth magnets. They get into their digestive system and they can close things off. And children have actually died from swallowing these rare earth magnets. So we will watch that video, but I wanted everybody to be aware of both choking hazards as well as the magnetic hazards. Next, we're going to look at some slides that just show common manipulatives that you may see in an early childhood classroom. It started out with an oldie but goodie, so these are classic Tinker toys. So way back when I was a child, Tinker toys were a toy that I remember playing with. These were wooden toys with little plastic things, and you could create a whole bunch of open-ended things with them. One of the things that is really good about manipulatives is they're very open-ended. So a very young child could do something with it, and a much older child could do something with it as well. So they're open-ended, so you can create based on where you're at developmentally and age-wise. Another classic is shown here, Lincoln logs, little wooden logs, and I remember the putting the roofs on and the chimneys on, and you can make a lot of neat things with Lincoln logs. Linking cubes, also known as unifix cubes, are shown here. So we see many different colors. We see how they link together. When they link together, fine muscle skills are used because you're getting the little knob to go into the hole. And you can do patterns with these. You can measure with these. A lot of different things that you can do with linking cubes. Magnetiles are a manipulative that we have in the early childhood classroom at KEC. Kids absolutely love magnetiles. They can do a variety of creative things with them. All different ages can use them in whatever way is appropriate to that age. Another one that I found were tweezer tongs in color sorting. So as we see here, the child is using these tongs to pick up the little balls and then to deposit them in the tube. So fine muscle skills are used when they're using the tongs, and sorting skills they're using as they sort the colors as to which color goes in which tube. Construct a letter activity set. So we all want children to learn letters, and when we can do them in fun ways like this, it's a neat thing. So this has a little board that has styrofoam on the inside, as well as some golf tees and a hammer. So a child can use those different shapes down at the bottom to create various letters in the alphabet, and then they can assemble them, pounding the things in. So a bunch of different skills are used here. Creativity is used, letter recognition is used, fine motor skills are used, kind of large motor skills are used in the hammering. So I thought that was kind of a neat manipulative for kids to use. Pictured here, another classic, bristle blocks. You can do a whole variety of different things using bristle blocks in a classroom. Nuts and bolts counting set. This was a newer manipulative that we sure did not have when I was a little kid. So this just shows where the child can thread the nut onto the bolt, and as many and then there are numerals on each bolt showing how many nuts can fit on that. So a good way for kids to learn counting and also develop fine muscle skills. They could also do patterns. They could also do matching, lots of things that they could do with those. A button sorting set. So this is something really aimed at younger children, but the child will put in the different shapes in the different slots. So they're developing hand-eye coordination. They're learning about shapes. They're learning about colors. They're learning about sorting, a few things like that through the use of this simple manipulative. This is a magnetic color maze, and the little pen there has a magnet in the tip of it, and then each of the balls inside is also magnetic. So the child has to weave these through the maze. So really using fine motor skills and hand-eye coordination, and then they are also sorting them by color. So it's a very closed-ended kind of thing where children are really encouraged to sort based on the colors. They can also learn color names, the letters involved in spelling that color name, etc. Shown here is a puzzle rack with just some basic puzzles. So puzzles are something that a lot of kids can do of a lot of different ages. Obviously, this is a very simple puzzle. These puzzles actually have a little peg on them or a little knob on each piece, so the child can easily pick it up when they don't have really well-developed fine muscle skills. And they're also only 4 pieces, so it's not overly challenging. Remember when we learned about the zone of proximal development, where you want to have something that is a little bit challenging, but not so challenging that it's frustrating. So this would be very appropriate for young toddlers. Pictured here are play sticks, another newer manipulative where the child can make pyramids or houses or all kinds of different stuff with the different colors. So a lot of creativity can go into this, a lot of problem solving, a lot of real thinking is involved in playing with these sticks. Pictured here are alphabet lacing beads, so fine muscle skills are definitely developed here where the child is making the string go through the hole in the blocks. The children are also going to learn letter names. They could also spell their name with the different blocks, so things like that can be done. Also colors. Children could also use these without the string, just as a stacking toy. So a lot of different uses for the alphabet lacing beads. Pictured here are magnetic gears, another newer manipulative. So these the children can arrange the gears in different ways and really see how the gears work with each other. So kind of science-based, kind of math-based, kind of fine motor-based, a lot of problem solving involved in playing with this activity. Some very basic peg number boards. Again, children are learning how to count, and the best way to learn how to count is through counting actual physical concrete objects. So in the board with the numeral 5 on it, the child counts out 5 pegs and puts in there. So learning how to count and learning how numerals match up with the number that you've counted. Some pop beads are are shown here. So these are simple beads where the little knob goes in the hole. So a very good fine motor exercise. Children love to make necklaces out of these, and they're safe because they will break if too much weight is put on them or too much pulling power is put on them. So they can do patterns, they can learn colors, shapes, that kind of thing. So with pop beads. Here are some more puzzles. So these are a little more advanced puzzles. These are probably 10 or 12 piece puzzles shown here. One thing that I was attracted to when I saw these puzzles is they are showing children of differing abilities. So it's always good to represent children of differing abilities, differing races, just so we can really be inclusive in our classrooms and really have all children represented in our classrooms. All right, so we just took a tour looking at a bunch of different manipulatives. Now we're going to talk a little bit about how they're used in early childhood classrooms. First of all, they're included in the learning environment for free play or child choice time. So whenever kids get to go and explore the classroom, they can grab a manipulative off the shelf and they can put it on the table or on the floor and they can build away. I use this picture because I like how each container has a picture on the outside of what goes on the inside, as well as a written label of what goes inside. So that is a nice way to keep manipulatives organized. And you can also have these bins out here today, and then next week you could put these bins into your storage room and bring out new bins so you can keep things fresh and inviting for the kids. Shown here is a Duplo table, one of the kind of tables you could have in a classroom for kids to build on, and kids really love building on these and can do some pretty amazing things. This table also has a couple little holes in it where the manipulatives can be stored, so you can put the Duplos in there after you're finished building with them. Pictured here is a light table, a newer thing as well, and a lot of things are translucent these days, so you can build and then have the light shine up through what you're building with, so another fun way for kids to explore manipulatives. This is a table made just for manipulatives, and I was kind of attracted to this table because I see that it has a little lip around the end, so the manipulatives are going to stay on that table. In most early childhood classrooms, you're going to use whatever table you have and have the shelf adjacent to the manipulative table so the children can take them out, play with them, and put them away when they're finished. This is one such table. So this is just a regular table, and the child here is playing with some gears. So just another type of manipulative on a table. So those are some pictures of how you could include them in free play. You can also provide different games and challenges using manipulatives. So sorting is a big thing for kids to do. You can sort objects by color, by size, by shape, by texture. You can sort independently or do a speed sort. So I like to do things like this where I would have, let's say, a whole bunch of teddy bears on the table of teddy bear counters, and they're in 4 or 5 different colors. And then I would have plates on the table, each representing a color of the bear. And children could do it independently by sorting the bears by the colors, or I could do a challenge and do a speed sort. And I would say, now, just a minute, don't start yet. But when I say go, we're going to sort these as fast as we can. So it's the same activity, but sometimes children just like that extra challenge of doing it in a speedy kind of way. So that would be one kind of game or challenge that you could have for children. You could use math links, one of the manipulatives we look at, to measure things. So you could put them together and see how many links it takes to make up a common classroom object, such as a table or a desk or a cubby width or things like that. So measure objects in the classroom. You could also use them to see how tall somebody is, what size their shoe is, etc. So a lot of different things that you can do with those. You can also use manipulatives to use for board games like path games, where objects are moved the number of dots on a dice. So I'm going to show a visual example of this in the classroom, of one that can be used with using Duplo bricks. I also wanted to explore more of this idea, and so I built a Pinterest board, having a lot of different games that you can do with manipulatives. So if you were to click on this link, you would be able to go to that and see what that is all about. So now that we've taken about 20 minutes to learn about manipulatives, I'm going to talk about what we're going to do this week to learn more about manipulatives through our own hands-on activity. One thing we're going to do this week is have a Lego tower competition. So the question is, which early childhood education team can build the tallest tower using just Legos? So team 1 is going to be our session 1, Monday through Thursday students. They're going to build on Wednesday of this week. Team 2 is going to do their building on Thursday, and Team 2 is going to be our Session 2 students. And then Team 3 is our Friday only students. They're going to build their tower on Friday. The rules are as follow. Your structure must be built on the Lego table using only the Legos that I provide, so you can't find any other Legos. You're going to use just the ones that I provide to you. The structure is going to be measured when the team says they're finished, before the end of your building day. And then I will also be taking pictures of your building so we can post these on Facebook and Instagram to bring additional attention to all that we are learning in early childhood education. So that's one activity we're going to do this week. In addition to being fun, it's going to be helpful for you to learn just how cooperation is important in this, how fine muscle skills are important in this, how problem solving is important. So you're going to be able to use a lot of the skills that we believe that kids learn when they play with manipulatives. A second activity this week is using math links. Students of 2 or 3 are going to measure classroom objects and each other. You're going to record your measurements on a worksheet and turn this in to Maritza when you are finished. So at the very top, you're going to list the names of the students in your group, and you're going to tell us how high or how tall they are in length. So you'll probably need to lie down on the floor to do this one. And then on the lower half of the sheet are classroom objects that you're going to go around and you're going to measure with your links. So after you have done that activity, make sure you turn it in to Maritza. Next activity we're going to do this week, I'm calling a safety checkup. So I have 3 no-choke testing tubes, and you're going to check classroom items to determine if they may be a choking hazard. So I have listed a whole bunch of different things down here, and you're going to go around with a tube, and you're going to mark whether it's good to go or whether it's a hazard for children that may be still mouthing things and for younger children. So this is another activity that we're going to do. The purpose of this one is for you to be very cognizant, very aware of putting things in the classroom that are safe for the children in your classroom. The next activity, which is really your assignment for this week, is going to be explaining the way that children learn. So on your assignment sheet, you're going to see pictures of 10 different manipulatives, and you're going to complete the sentence. I made up the name Maya. When Maya plays with light table pegs, she learns the following skills and knowledge. And then you're going to write in the box below the things that the child can learn playing with that manipulative. The reason I'm doing this assignment is it's very helpful for you to be able to explain both to yourself and to somebody else the many ways the child can learn. If we truly believe that children learn through play, then we need to know deep inside of us how they learn through play and be able to explain that well to others. So that is the plan for this week, and I am looking forward to learning about manipulatives with all of you. Thank you.